Hi everyone, welcome to Tom's Manshed. And this is part 3 of the Grandpa Builds a Gaming PC build video. Hopefully you've seen part 1 where I assemble the components, give you me choice why I chose them and the prices, and part 2, which is the actual build with using the stock Ryzen cooler. This is part 3. This is just how to swap that stock Ryzen cooler for an AIO all-in-one cooler. I chose the Corsair matching white one because it's a white case and build PC. I did want a matching white one. It's about 10 or 20 quid more than the equivalent standard black one, but what the hell. So I bought that from Scan Computers here in here in the UK. They're the only people in the UK at the moment, as of March, April 2019, selling this white version of this cooler. I could have got it from Newegg UK. I've never bought from Newegg. I think you may, being a US based company, you may have to pay import duty. I'm not too sure, but so I got it from Scan. But as explained in the previous two videos, I was quite prepared to run the stock Ryzen cooler for maybe 1, 2, 3 months while I saved up for that cooler. I was fully prepared it wouldn't cool as well, and it was fine on just surfing the web. So if you're just doing your normal sort of like word bait type mild things, surfing the web, watching YouTube videos, no problem whatsoever. It's not taxing your CPU at all, so the red's kept quite low and the noise is quite low. It's also a very nice looking cooler. I'll show you here. Saw it before when I put it on, and I'll show it in comparison. This is the Ryzen, and this is a stock Intel one. So you can see how much thicker the heatsink is on the Ryzen compared to the Intel one, which is tiny. The diameter is about the same, but the thickness a lot thicker. It's also got this AMD, which was sideways in my build, lights up white, and the whole ring around here, as you saw in the videos. I'll show you some comparison videos at the end of this, before and after, is RGB, and that lights up multicoloured. It looks quite impressive. They do one AMD. That's the Wraith, Wraith Stealth. They also do one called the Wraith Prism, which is a square cooler, and that is full RGB, just like the Corsair fans. Looks very, very impressive, and it's slightly bigger. But I must say I was a bit disappointed in how it did perform. Yeah, I was fully pushing it on the two benchmarking CPU stressing programs, Prime 95 and Ada 64. I used both of them, and it reached alarmingly high temperatures. Stay tuned to the end of this video. I'll be putting all the charts up and you'll see what temperature it reached. And once I'd replaced it with the Corsair AIO, them temperatures really reduced by more than I was expecting. So yeah, the AIO really does do its job when that CPU has been pushed hard in games. It really comes into its own. So it was quite a straightforward process to swap them. We'll go straight into the video now. It's quite short. A lot of the actual, I didn't do any unboxing of the cooler, and the actual sort of fitting to the processor, I didn't video that either. but I'll give all the instructions, but it's pretty straightforward. And then again at the very end I'll be putting up some of the before and after temperature results and some of the frames per second I'm getting in 3 or 4 games. I've only got the games that came with the equipment, which are Battlefield 5 and Tom Clancy's Division 2. I've got War Thunder, which was the only game I really played, and I've downloaded the trial of Tomb Raider, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which is really, really good. I might even buy the game because of that demo. So I'll put the results of them up at the end, and make your own conclusions. Stick with the stock Ryzen one, or get an AIO. Also, a big a much bigger air cooler would have probably sufficed, but I picked the AIO for the reasons given. So without further ado, let's go into the video on the actual swap. So it's extremely easy, but basically the two black plastic bars you see there, one above, one below the pump head, they're what come on the motherboard originally. If you remember in part 2, we took them off to attach the stock Ryzen fan cooler. Well, you will need them to attach this water cooler. So basically you take the stock cooler off, same way you put it on in part 2, and then you reattach them to black plastic clips. There's 2 bolts in each one. They just screw to the back plate at the back of the motherboard, as they did when you got it. And there's 2 thumb screws on them. So on the pump head, with 2 hooks that go under a lug on the black plastic top and bottom, and then you just tighten the pump head down. It's dead easy. It's a lot easier than the stock fan head, heatsink head, and you just tighten them down. And again, the thermal paste is already on the bottom of the cooler head, the pump head, and you just tighten them 2 screws down as tight as you can get them with your hand, and then maybe half a turn with a screwdriver is ample. They move out at a bit of an angle as they're getting tighter. That's quite normal. I couldn't photograph from the side once they were in, but that's the bottom screw there you see under the pump head, and as long as it's gripping it, pushing it tight down onto the face of the CPU, that's fine. That's tight enough. So that's the pump head in place. You can see it's a lot smaller physically than the stock cooler, and obviously a lot smaller than any big tower type air cooler that you might need to sufficiently cool it. So again, pleased with that. Although I'm not really keen on seeing the water pipes, but there's no way over that. So these are the 3 plugs. One is for the with the single wire, that's explained in part 2 of the build, is for the pump, the AIO pump head. That sends signals telling you the software how many revs it's doing. The other 2 are on my motherboard. They are the CPU fan header and the CPU optional fan header. So there they are, next to the numerical controller. The one on the extreme right is the pump header. Single wire goes to that, and that tells the software, your motherboard software, how many revs per minute the pump is turning at. And then the one in the middle and the extreme left are the power supplied to CPU and CPU optional, so they went to fans 1 and 2. There. I've tried to get cable management as good as I can. These wires, I've tie wrapped them together. Unfortunately, they wouldn't go quite behind that bit where it says Hero. I'd have loved for them to tuck behind there, but there wasn't enough play either end on that, so there they'll stay with it. They don't look too bad, and they are, of course, black. That lights up RGB, as you'll see soon. I do like the white highlight around that, and the white pipes, of course. Well, as I mentioned before, it does seem almost impossible to get that, whether they've withdrawn stock, I don't know. That's your cooler. Now, on the cooler, the radiator itself, when mounting that, be careful to use the screws you get with it. They're very, very short. And even then, they did sort of like just dent the top of the fins. Don't worry too much about that, because the bit the water goes through is the white cores there, the solid white cores. Just like the radiator on a car, that's the only bit that the coolant actually goes through. All the little V-shaped fins in between are just to increase the surface area for cooling. There's no actual liquid in them. But you don't want to be putting massive long screws down in there. They'll probably crush them. So this is it being turned on. Like the fans down the side, the camera doesn't pick up how rich the colour is. As you've noticed, from boot up, the fans are just white. Now this is puzzling me why it doesn't boot up on the existing colours. More of that later when after this video I'll be asking the question direct, but I would be very grateful for an answer on that. But there you go, that's it. That's the monitor. Got that beginning of this year, I think. Ultra wide LG. It's nothing special. It's not 1440 or mega refresh rates. It's just pretty bog standard, but very, very nice monitor. Love it. I love it when video editing there's so much space. You can really spread out the desktop. It's great. So yeah, still white. But the rest of the RGBs are looking good. I don't mind if it's got a 6 or 7 year lifespan that I've heard for AIO systems. If the pump jams, I'll have a go at repairing it. I've been a heating engineer for 42 years, my entire working career for a gas heating engineer, so I've stripped a few pumps down in my time, so it can't be that difficult. So I would always have a go at trying to repair it, and if not, I'd just buy a new one. But 6 or 7 years is fine by me if that is the expected lifespan of them. I know an air cooler is indefinite, but I'll be getting rid of the computer after 5 or 6 years anyway. So here's the old, just to remind you, if you didn't see part 2, this is the old stock cooler in place. As you can see, it's quite effective. That one RGB ring around it still looks good. On the AMD logo, if that does annoy you being on the side, you can turn that around the whole fan to the top. That's it under torchlight. You can see the heat sinks below the fan there. And that was it, just with the old stock cooler. So here's the new one. Fans have now turned coloured. And that's it, all lit up. Does look better, I think, than the stock one's much smaller. And of course the performance is in a different league. There's no ramping up of the fans and being quite loud during anything. Stress testing, video rendering, they turn up a bit, but the fans can turn up to about half speed without increasing the volume by much. It's only when they're going flat out that the reasonably loud. So now the bit you've all been waiting for, the temperature tests. This first one is very short on the stock, the original stock cooler, AIO 64. But look at the temperature and listen to the noise. That's the noise from it. The fan's running flat out, 94 degrees C, as you'll see. And as you can hear, the fans are really loud. And here it is with the new water cooler on. As you can see, it's been running 6 minutes. It's at 60 degrees. You can hear the fans. The microphone is right next to the PC, so they are running now, but you can hardly hear them. They're not bothering me at all, and it's showing a steady 60 degrees. Now, as I click stop at the bottom here, just watch how instantly it goes back down. So I'll click stop, and you see that temperature now, 60 straight out to 52, 45. The other two stripes are measuring temperature for the NVMe and the motherboard, I think, but they're irrelevant. Back up to about 45, 40. Usually when I'm just surfing the net and watching YouTube and that, it's just around about these sort of temperatures, 40-ish temperatures. And as you can see, it's right down to 36. The highest it reached was 61 degrees. That was after 6 minutes of AIO 64 full pelt. So a good 30 degrees, 35 degrees cooler with this AIO cooler than the stock Ryzen one. Now this is showing, I actually did a screen capture this time instead of using my phone, so it's a bit clearer. This is showing a new test, and you'll see the test has started. It's 100% load on the CPU. You see the revs the fan is doing there. And it's AIO 64 again. Now this is after another tweak in the what's it called, the suite, the AI Suite 3 on the 5-way optimization, which tweaks your overclocking and your fan speeds and this, that and the other. I've not got into thorough proper overclocking like the experts do, altering voltages and this, that and the other, but you can see it's now up to nearly 3,900 megahertz. So you know, it's knocking on nearly 4,000 instead of the stock 3,000. So that's a pretty good overclock just on the auto stuff, and I'm completely happy with that. I don't want to try pushing it even further. But as you can see, the temperature on the new AIO cooler is still showing really good. Test has been running now for it's a bit hard to see. I'm recording this as a voiceover while editing, but excuse me, you will see down there that how long the test has been running. I ran it for a full 15 minutes or so, so I'll probably snip it here and then join it a bit at the end. But you can see from all the facts and figures there how cool it is actually running. So we've just fast forwarded it a bit to the end of the test. You'll see here we're reaching about 16 minutes or so. So I think that's long enough. You'll see on the curve there on the graph that it's held true at 65 degrees or whatever it is in the blue there. The fan speed, you can see they're not up to full speed, the current speeds, and it's still holding true at about 66 degrees. Ambient temperature was, I think, a couple of degrees more here, about 23 in the room. But I'm moving my mouse all over there, trying to indicate what's what. We're only testing we're not bothered about the other things, but here's the statistics, and you can read for yourself. The currently at 65 degrees. Minimum has been 40 degrees and maximum 69 when it first started, and it shot up. You'll see soon when it's showing the other components. So the case temperatures inside the case are pretty low as well, and you can see we've been going, I think there is about 17 minutes. So when I click stop here, if you look over here at the temperatures on the left and the RPM on the fan as well, you should see them immediately go down as soon as I click stop on. So if I click stop the test, you'll see immediately the yellow graph at the bottom has gone down, so it's not 100% usage now. You'll see the fan revs are dropping, the temperature has dropped right down to 40 already, which is the temperature it's running at while you're just surfing the net or doing mild work. So again, them revs are almost on stop. In fact, fan number 1, which is the top of the 3 fans down the side, has actually stopped now, and the temperature is really low. You'll see they're both matching, so it's pretty accurate. It's that temperature. So this next test is another test of your CPU. It's called Cinebench. This is it in real time. It composes of a scene in a room, and this is where the multi-threading of if your CPU's got multi-threads really does help. The more cores, the better. And you can see it is pretty fast, this. Make your own comparisons. If you are doing it, make sure you're on the latest. This is Cinebench R20. It's a different test than the other ones. So if you are comparing it to your own CPU, make sure you're running the same R20 test. But this is it in real time from beginning to end. I remember doing this years ago with the old design. It wasn't this dining room table and chair set. It was like swirly sort of figures, and it took a hell of a lot longer than this with some of the old CPUs. So this is, I think, pretty quick. It gives you a score at the end, so you can make your own mind up what it is. I think it's 3,600 and something, which I think is a pretty good score. There's some sort of a list of various processors here to compare it against. It's sort of like 3rd or 4th down the list. So yeah, pretty pleased with the performance with it in Cinebench as well. So, was it worth doing the swap? Well, I think the answer to that is a resounding yes. As you saw in them tests, with the stock cooler, it's performing at 95 degrees C, which is extremely hot. That's in an ambient room temperature of between 20 and 23 degrees. And with the new Corsair AIO water cooler on it, it's down at 66, 64 degrees. So yeah, a full 30 degrees difference. I was expecting about sort of 20 or something like that, but 30 degrees difference, and the tests were run in roughly the same ambient temperature between 20 and 23. So yeah, a resounding success on that. I can push it under any stress test or any game or any transcoding of video after video editing, and it's nowhere near reaching any sort of high temperatures. So before I give a few more words at the very end, I'll just include these 3 or 4 tests on the graphics card. We've done the CPU tests. That was the main point of this video, showing you the results before and after with the stock and the liquid cooler. But that's not testing the GPU, the graphics card. So these next few tests are just a benchmark and some actual games, showing you the frames per second, and then we'll have a final few words at the end. So just check out these and check out how bad I am at playing games. So this is the Heaven benchmark. I've set it to 1920 by 1080, even though I've got an ultra wide monitor, so that everybody's tests will be about the same. Tessellation is off. Always select the same settings, obviously, each time you do a test for comparison. And again, it's just loading the game now. It looks like it's actually running now, but until you press F9, it isn't. So press F9 to start the benchmarking. So here it is. It's giving you your frames per second at the top right and also the bottom right. Like I mentioned, the other tests we did were CPU based, the main reason for this video, but I thought I'd bung these GPU, your graphics card, tests in as well, and a few games just to show you what frames per second I'm getting with the new build PC. So this is Heaven benchmark. It's quite a commonly used one. Runs for about 5 to 10 minutes, is it something like that, setting it. So we'll stop it here and then we'll join it nearer the end as it's giving the result. So it's approaching the end of the test now, and then it'll give us the result. I've been using this test for quite a few years, and it's amazing the difference in frames per second as the years have gone by. Basically, the processors have advanced massively, but in real-time money seem to cost about the same. So always getting better performance as the years go by. That's a reasonable result, 128 frames per second and a score of 3,200. So that's the benchmark. We'll just have a few more just actual footage of real life games as they are being played. Now this is me playing Battlefield, and you'll see how bad I am. I realise there's not a lot going on here. There's not loads of characters on the screen shooting, so it's not a full test of its capabilities. But I've hardly got into the game yet. It'll take me a long time to get pretty good. So basically, she's just near the beginning of the game, just following somebody. But it does give you an idea at the top at the temperature and the frames per second I'm getting. All the orange figures and that at the top, as you'll probably know, are from a program called MSI Afterburner, and that runs in the background, and you can select various settings within it, what you want to be shown on screen, like your graphics card temperature, your CPU temperature, speed of your fans, all sorts of stuff. So just put the odd basics up there, and in white. That's from the game, I think, itself. You can see the frames per second being shown. So, not a lot to say here, really. Maybe not the ideal clip of the game to display its capabilities, but it's just to give you an idea. Like I said, there's far more intensive sites on YouTube that will give you... there you are, see, return to the combat area. I was running the wrong way. What an idiot. There's far more sites on YouTube that will give you proper intensive frames per second and full games reviews. This is just to give you a quick idea. So this is Shadow of the Tomb Raider. This is just a demo I've downloaded. It gives you quite a chunk of the game to play. Again, I've only just started, but it's more my style of game, this. I've played Tomb Raider many times, starting from the original one way back when. Was it 10, 15 years ago, maybe? And played quite a few since then, on consoles and PCs. But it's more my sort of thing, puzzle solving, than just killing, just shooting all the time, which can get pretty intensive and a lot of accuracy needed. Still some accuracy in Tomb Raider, as you know, leaping onto platforms and stuff, but I do find it a bit easier than the war-based ones. So may buy this because I'm quite impressed so far with what I've seen, but again, I've only brushed the surface. But you can see the figures there, that I'm getting the frames per second. And again, I've not picked the ideal spot. A lot of this is cutscenes and just the walking, but the bit I've played where she has been leaping from platform to platform, I've not seen any real difference in the frames per second. They've been around about this sort of 70, 80 mark. So that's Shadow of the Tomb Raider, the demo. So this is Tom Clancy's The Division. I got this game free with the cooler, with the AIO cooler. I had to get back in touch with Scan, because when I first got it, it didn't include the game, and I only saw it later on some other Corsair AIO coolers that you got this game with. So I got in touch, and they gave me a download code for it, which was great. So now, maybe some of you viewers can help me here. I cannot get it to display the MSI afterburner information. So I've no idea how many frames per second I'm going or whatever. Looks okay, looks smooth and that, but I don't know why MSI afterburner won't work with it. Is it something I'm doing wrong? Is there a setting somewhere I'm missing? Or is it just that the game's not compatible with it? If you do know the answer, it'd be great if you could make a comment in the comments below. But again, you can see how rubbish I am when we get up to the guys. I just stand up and get shot, basically. Again, I don't fully understand. I'm going to set it all up so I can play it with me Xbox controller, which I'm more used to playing with. At the moment, I'm just playing on keyboard. I've got all the gear to set that up, so that's what I'll be doing. But you can see, looks pretty good, pretty smooth graphics. But what the frames per second is, like I said, I don't know, because I can't get MSI Afterburner to work with it. But the game was free. Like I say, Battlefield was the one that I chose with the graphics card, the RX 2060. This was the one I chose with the... Well, it was the only one with the cooler. Also, all the lights on the PC, all the fan lights, change colour automatically during this game. They go white and orange, which are the game colours, and then when you get killed, they turn red. Or when you kill somebody, they turn red. And then when you're recharging or whatever, they turn green. So I did notice that at the corner of my eye. Again, I haven't found anything in game where to turn this on or off, but again, I've only skimmed the subject, like I say, skimmed the surface of the game. So once I get into them more intensively, I'll become more fluent with them. So that's the Division 2. So this is War Thunder. Now this game I am quite used to. I've been playing it for about 5 years, not long after it came out probably, and not played it for about 6 months, so I'm a bit out of touch with it now, but I was at one time quite addicted to it, playing it every day. I've built up me quite a few of the well, I've got all the air forces and progressed to the jets in a few of them. It's a free game. You don't have to buy anything. You're tempted in game to buy things like, with the in-game currency, silver lions and golden eagles, which actually cost you cash to buy, and with that you can progress a lot quicker, buy new aircraft, new weapons, new crews and things. But you don't have to. You can just take it slow and grind along that way. So you can play the game totally free. And as you can see, it's gorgeous graphics. I'm an aviation nut, so I do like aviation simulators, and this is a nice one. It's better than World of Warplanes, I found. So if you want to give it a go, it's War Thunder. There's tanks and ships as well. Never got into the tanks and ships. Just stuck with the aircraft. So that's War Thunder. So that's it. I hope this video has been of some use to you, and you've learnt something. I've enjoyed making it. I would love answers to the 2 problems I mentioned during the video. If anybody knows why the PC starts up with all the fans on white and takes about 5 minutes to get to the rainbow wave stage of the IQ software, I'd love to know that. I've done a search online and on YouTube, and I can't find any info on it. There's a few IQ tutorials, but again, none from absolute starting from basics. They all seem to assume that you know a bit about it anyway. So if you know any absolute basic tutorials, not the ones made by Corsair themselves, and particularly explaining this problem, why it takes a while to actually spring into life, even though IQ is running in the background, please put the solution in the comments below. Also, if you know why I can't get MSI Afterburner to display its all the things, the frames of second and temperatures in Tom Clancy's The Division 2 as well, that'd be great. I don't know whether it's a glitch in the game or it's something I've missed, but if you have got an answer, I'd love to hear that in the comments as well. Like I said, I hope you've enjoyed this. I've got a few more little things in the back of my head to do. I'm going to do a quick photo montage and description of the build of this man shed that I'm sat in. It's nearly a year since I made it. I've never done any sort of building joinery work or anything like that before. Very, very keen DIYer, and I've been a gas engineer all my life. So I'm not too bad at DIY, but I've never built anything like this. So I hope that will be some use. And I've got a thing on CCTV cameras, how to stop them misting up dome cameras at night under the infrared light. So that's in the pipeline as well. And whenever I get a new gadget and something comes along, I'll make a little video of it. So hopefully you'll find this place of a bit of use. Feel free to subscribe, feel free to leave any comments, and I hope to see you all again very, very soon. Bye for now.